insightful and interesting subjects, and you get to know after this presentation. We have a gentleman by name is Okraku, who is speaking to us on football and economic development, football and economic and community development. Would invite Return Arthur to introduce to us our speaker for the day. Return Arthur, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Rotarian President. Good evening, fellow Rotarians, Rotaractors, and guests. Our speaker for tonight on the subject football for economic and community development is no other person than Mr. K. Edwin Simon Okraku. Mr. Simon Okraku, who since October 2019 serves as the president of the Ghana Football Association, and who also was recently elected as the president of the Zone B of the West African Football Union, the WAFU. He is a former executive chairman of the Dreams Football Club and a former sports journalist who received his bachelor's degree from the University of Ghana, trained as a journalist at the Ghana Institute of Journalism, and subsequently received his MBA from the University of Liverpool. He took further courses in marketing, hospitality, and tourism in the United Kingdom. Rotarian President, our guest, Mr. Simon Okraku, your audience, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Return Arthur. Mr. Okraku, are you on call, please?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to this august family this evening. So I'll start by briefly talking about the Ghana Football Association. I'm sure most of us refer to the Ghana Football Association as the GFA. So in this presentation, I'll solely perhaps refer to the Football Association as the GFA. So the Ghana Football Association is the only accredited and mandated agency by the laws of the Confederation of African Football, which is CAF, and FIFA to administer, to regulate, develop, and promote the sporting activity called football. The GFA is responsible for the organization, obviously, and accreditation of all football competitions in Ghana, including the Ghana Premier League, the Division 1 League, the MTN FA Cup competition, and all the regional competitions across the 10 football regions of Ghana. For the sake of this special audience, the Ghana Premier League is competed for by 18 clubs spread across the country. The next tier, which is the Division 1 League, is competed for and by 48 clubs. So 48 clubs play in the Ghana Division 1 League. Then we also have the Women's Premier League, which is competed for by 20 women clubs. These 20 clubs are divided into two subzones, the Northern Zone and the Southern Zone. Each of the two zones have 10 clubs each in this. Now, beyond the top tier leagues, we have the regional leagues, the regional second division league, the regional third division leagues, the regional fourth division leagues in certain parts of the country, and what we call coast football, or perhaps juvenile football, which is also played in the 10 football regions. It's important to say that in football, we have 10 regions and not 16, as we've been accustomed with in most recent times. The GFA is also responsible for the management of all national teams in Ghana. In total, we have 12 national teams, 10 very, very active, 1 semi-active, and 1 yet to be given life. And when I say the 10 very active ones. I'm talking about both women and men, okay? The two newbies, futsal and beach soccer. So beach soccer is semi-active, futsal not active yet. Hopefully, we will be organizing. No, I mean, not too long ago, we had our first futsal knockout competition. We are yet to go into the full futsal football season. Now, coming back to our main subject, we are talking about the connection between football and economic and community development. The role of football in the economic and social development of our country, or perhaps beyond the shores of Ghana. And it is interesting to say or to note that the use of football to promote development and economics is not entirely new. So for example, World Cup tournaments produce infrastructure and brings revenue from funds and from tourism. This is development. Now, development is a broad concept, to say the least, ranging from an economic to a social and human standpoints. Now, I want us to look at the key areas of focus for the GFA that connects clearly to economic and social development or community development. Here, I want to speak about the youth in socioeconomic development or community development, women, men, and the entire football ecosystem. Youth, women, the men, and the entire industry or the entire ecosystem. Now, clearly, grassroots football or youth is key to ensure sustainability of the football ecosystem or development in association football. So when we speak about the youth, we're talking about how we use football as a vehicle to not only to identify God-given talents, which are normally hidden in the woods of Ghana and beyond. And these talents are harnessed via the platforms that the Football Association creates, i.e. through our prize assets, i.e. through our leagues and competitions, and i.e. through good and quality coaching from all the various pathways of association football, right from the juvenile right to the top at the international level. And the talents are harnessed and developed. Once these talents are harnessed and developed, it means value added, and it means economic gains by not only the individuals whose talents have been harnessed and developed, but also they go all the way to impact in the various societies that they find themselves in the country. So the FA advocates for youth in football to be enrolled in school programs. And in the last year, for example, the Football Association has been working very closely with the Ghana Education Service, introducing girls in football and boys in football right at the tender age of 9 up to the 14. What that means is that even at that level, kids will be given the opportunity to realize their dreams. Their talents will be discovered early. And these talents, when harnessed properly, obviously has economic implications across the line. Either they turn out to be good footballers, earning wages and salaries and impacting or investing in the society, or they work as coaches at the end, or as linesmen, as referees, as managers in the entire football ecosystem. Clearly, this has economic implications all the way. Now, when these kids are given the opportunity to exercise via football, their physical health are improved. There's weight control, strength building, increased flexibility, enhanced coordination, improved the cardiovascular health, of these individuals. Indeed, when these kids exercise, the exercises alleviate stress and aggression. What that means is that participation in sport can help alleviate depression or anxiety. These are clearly social needs, and these needs are solved or are met at the point of their need by kids being involved in football. So it's so important to say that football plays a significant role in a healthy social development and interaction. Sport or football helps people learn how to set and achieve goals through discipline and hard work. Now, let me speak about women. At the Football Association, we encourage and believe in the philosophy of FIFA, who are very interested in ensuring that a lot more girls are active participants in football, because this active participation in football has a multiplier effect in the lifespan of a young girl. Now, what this does is that girls who are very active in football, or who nurtures or who develop their passion in football, at the end of the day, gain employment. So the sport creates employment, and this is a viable career option as the football or women football continues to grow in leaps and bounds, and is becoming a lot more lucrative than it used to be. Active participation in football also gives girls a strong sense of self-esteem. It also helps them to overcome anxiety, makes them feel less self-conscious, and crucially, empowers them with the confidence to reach their goals. So all of a sudden, you have young girls realizing their dream of being professionals, football athletes, and earning a living from football. In the Americas, in Scandinavia, and in Canada, a lot more women make their lives through association with football. And this is clearly the vision of our football association. Indeed, women being involved in football is a signal of our determination to promote gender equality in the sport. What that means is that the Football Association continue to open up and to offer opportunities to young girls at all levels of the football ecosystem to realize their dreams. So we have females who become referees, match commissioners, administrators, and active football players on the pitch, all making their livelihood through their active participation in the activity called football. Once they participate in football, it has a multiplier effect in the communities in which they live. They become role models, they become providers for their families, and it goes on and on from one generation to the other. They become symbols for positive change in the society, especially for those ones who are highly successful. Now, to the perhaps more popular part of the football ecosystem, males football. Men have been very dominant in association football, and football obviously provides one of the biggest employment platforms, or it is one of the biggest employment opportunities for boys, not only in Ghana, but across the world. A lot more boys are now into football, which is a sport, and perhaps the only sport that is consumed in 211 countries in the world. Now, the football ecosystem, especially when we speak about male football, is so huge that the commerce of football has taken the center stage in most countries across the world. Football serves as a regular source of income for many clubs, club owners, club executives, footballers alike, physicians, who are all active participants in football. And in countries where the football ecosystem is well-resourced and well-endowed, you can just imagine the kind of commerce that exists. Most importantly, male football perhaps has the biggest pull power and very key for any community and societal change strategy that one would want to embark upon. So when you want to effect change and you rely on the power of football, clearly you will see that at the end, your strategy will have a multiplier effect in not only your community, not only in your country, but perhaps beyond. So football gives skills for us to employ. It allows all of us the opportunity to give employment to young boys who have the right levels of skill sets. The physical exercises that footballers go through, which includes conditioning of the mindset and also the physical state of the individual, helps the health status of these young boys who are active participants in the sport called football. It also contributes to a healthy working population for higher productivity. What that means is that when the young boys go through the physical exercises to get them prepared to be competitive, these processes helps their health status and ensures that people have the right physical conditioning and people are healthy. A fully engaged football sector prohibits national security issues, such as the youth will be actively engaged in. What that means is that when there's an active sporting industry, i.e. football industry, it attracts the youth. And young boys who would not normally have a livelihood will suddenly find life in football. What that also means is that instead of these boys going into social vices like becoming armed robbers, drug dealers, etc., etc., football offers them the right pathway for them to develop their God-given talents. Naturally, when you exercise, it builds your confidence. Now, in Ghana, we have one clear example of an investment by an individual who believes that football has a big economic impact on the society and that football can impact positively in the communities that we live in. What we see on your screens is an investment project by a businessman, an entrepreneur called Magdan, who sees football as a vehicle for not only community change, not only for social change, but also for economic change. And he has decided to invest in physical infrastructures that will be used by both boys and girls to realize their dreams. So you can see clearly that football is a powerful vehicle to effect economic and community change. Now, the construction and rehabilitation of sports facilities or football facilities and development of football for entertainment creates employment opportunities and marketing opportunities. And these opportunities are harnessed by marketing experts that helps in accelerating the sports economic growth in the sports ecosystem. And here, when we speak sports, we're talking about football. The manufacturing of sports equipment or football equipment also serves as a source of job creation for the youth, not only in Ghana, which still has a big potential, but also beyond the shores of Ghana, where the economics of football is much stronger than we are talking about. Football programs can be used as training grounds for a new workforce, teaching skills that make young people more employable and productive. Obviously, here we're also talking about training and skills development. Developing new markets through football is also important or possible. It can develop new income streams through events, commissioning and partnerships, and sponsorships. In the last few years, we have seen a rise in what we call sports tourism, where sports is used as a tool for tourism promotion. Now, to give one classical example, the country called Rwanda have decided to use football to market the country called Rwanda. How have they done that? They have invested in the club called Arsenal Football Club that participates in the EPL in England, that has big viewership. And this partnership directs traffic to the country called Rwanda. Football tourism they are promoting. At the end, football tourism will bring in revenue. This revenue can be invested in youth, in the economic and in community development of the country we are talking about. Okay, so furthermore, the league's pride and community cohesiveness, that is social inclusion, can also be harnessed through the football vehicle or the football platform. I guess we've had a good listening. I guess we've had a good time to talk or to listen to this short presentation. I'll be on standby if there are any questions, if there are any contributions. I'm here and I'm here for you. Thank you.
Wow. Many thanks. And just as I suspected, many thanks, Mr. Okraku, for that elaborate presentation. Rotated